Okay, guys, I'd like to explain to you how or what I would tell a customer about us. Now, you're going to have to kind of do this with a little bit of your own flavor in your approach, but what I wanted to do is help you understand how I see, or and Logan and Talon, how we see this company. So our story begins back in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where Logan and I are from, and we were heavily in the real estate business back then in the 2006, 2007, 2008 time frame when the market just came undone. We were heavily invested into building condos and houses, and the market came unglued, and we ended up with a big fat zero after 10 years of crazy amount of work. So that's what happened with that's how we got into this business. So what we did is we started doing junk removal into the wealthy neighborhoods, waiting for the market to come back and to jump back into the real estate market. And then what happened is, lo and behold, we started doing this junk removal thing, and we started hearing the same stuff over and over and over. I kept hearing stuff like, okay, you got this junk out of the way for me. Now, who do you know that takes up floors? Who do you know that takes out kitchens? Who do you know could take this bath out for me? And so on and so forth. So I had a general contractor's license. What I was doing with the junk removal was I was trying to do less work in make more money to support Logan and I. I had him in a private school, and I didn't want to subject him to the stuff that you deal with in the public high schools. And so anyway, what we did is we ran ads in Naples and in Marco Island, and we picked up stuff all over the place. But we knew that if we went down there, we generally what they considered junk was not necessarily typical junk, So I can't begin to tell you how many times we went down and got this crazy cool stuff. And then we were living in Cape Coral at the time. We would come back to Cape Coral and we would sell it. So that's kind of what gave us our boost. And then what happened over time is I'm spending all my time putting stuff on eBay and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. We took a different approach to the junk removal business. I looked at it as a way to get stuff for cheap or for free that I could resell. So I was very selective about how I picked up stuff. So anyway, I don't want to go too far into that. But so what we did is we literally we squatted in houses. Now I knew who owned the houses. I asked them permission, and they said it was okay. We were living in them while we were waiting for the market to recover. And we basically, Logan set up in one bedroom, I set up in the other, and we used the rest of the house as a storage unit. And we put stuff on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and I was looking for short sales and stuff like that for the real estate business. And eventually what happened is this business just took off. So those people that started asking us about who took out kitchens, who took out baths, who took out flooring, well, they ended up becoming our long-term customers. So then, one day I realized that, oh my God, I keep having to deal with this debris. These guys don't want to get dumpsters and so on and so forth. So I hooked a dump trailer up to a box truck, which I don't know if you know this or not, but you have to fix, you got to redo the hitch area, because the hitches on the Penske trucks or the U-Haul trucks and stuff like that, they're not designed for heavy box trucks. Now, we welded that up. We built sides on these trailers, and then off we went. So we started doing junk removals and also doing flooring removals and selective demolition, and we did that for a long, long time. When Hurricane Ian came in, we went ahead and tooled up and became a building demolition company. On top of that, we have a green approach. We're basically, we have a sister company called Reuse It Pros. And Reuse It Pros, we basically take the stuff that we get from the houses and the junk removals, and we repurpose it. So How does this all work? So typically what we're doing is we're giving the owner a better price because of the stuff that we're getting. We go in and we say, here's your price if we get all this stuff, and here's your price if we don't. So it's a good deal for them, good deal for us. They save a little money. We get to make a little bit of money. There's a lot more that goes into it. And it works out. We've been doing this for, since 2010, I guess. As Remove It Pros, we rebranded ourselves in 2014 to Remove It Pros, and we kind of knew we had a unique thing here, and that's what we did. So here we are. This is so here we are. We've been in business for a long time now. We do over 2,000 demos a year. We're doing a lot of flooring removal, about 1 million square foot of flooring removal every year. I haven't calculated that in a couple years. We may be way beyond that. I think I did that back in right 5 years ago. I calculated how much we were doing a year. And then we have a warehouse on Racetrack Road, and we sell stuff out of there, and that's where we keep all of our equipment. So that's pretty much it. So Logan and Talon were kids when we started this out. They were just kind of working with me to make extra money, and we ended up building this business together. Okay, so you go in and you're talking to somebody at the front desk, and you say, hey, my name is, and I'm with Remove It Pros. We're a demolition company. We do everything from junk removal all the way to building demolitions. And we just would really like to get on your bid list if there is such a thing with your company. If not, is there any chance I could get the card or the contact, or maybe even have a conversation with this person who makes the decisions on your demolitions? That's the way I would approach 99% of these. Same thing on the phone. Okay, so here's how I would explain our company to somebody that's thinking about using our business. I would say, look, here's how we work. So basically, we're a golden rule based company. Basically, what we're doing is we're trying to give you the service that we would want if we hired someone like us. So we're do things a lot different. So the guys show up in the morning, and collectively together as a group, they unload the trucks from the day before. That's kitchens and baths, refrigerators, and everything else you can think of that's a household item. We do that as a group. Once they're done with that, the guys get their jobs for the day, and they all head down to Racetrack gas station. Some of them go to different gas stations, but and they get their stuff for the day. Now, you might say, well, why would you do that? And they're doing it on the clock. Well, the reason that we do that is because we want them to get everything they need for the day, because we're not pulling off the jobs during the day. Once we get located on a job site, on a condominium site or whatever, a lot of times you're getting a certain position on the property where you've got the shortest distance to your unit. And then what we're doing there is it just makes us more effective. We do a lot of condos. So the guys will get their stuff for the day. Then the crew leader is going to call the customer and the fuel up. And they're going to call the customer and say, okay, Mr. Jones, we're on our way. We'll be there at 9:05, or we'll be there at 8:55, or whatever. They'll tell them what they have on their GPS. Then what they're going to do is they're going to get to the job site, and the guys are going to unload the stuff that they need to work on, and the crew leader is going to walk the job with the customer. And he's going to ask them a million questions. He's going to use blue tape and a marker. He's going to mark everything out so that we helps improve memory. And he's going to have their phone number, and he's going to say, look, I might call you a bunch of times today. Anytime I'm not sure about something, I'm going to call you. And they're going to smile about that, because they want you to not mess up. So the approach that we have to this is we're coming at the demolition business from the general contractor side and not the labor side. A lot of guys that do the kind of work we do, they come from being laborers, and they don't fully understand that if you go an inch into another room, when you're taking up flooring, that now the contractor's got to put in new flooring in that room. And if he didn't bid it out, guess what? He's going to eat it. And that's what general contractors are typically pretty daggone sensitive about what we do. So they want you to do it, and they want you to do it right. Now, if you look at our Google reviews, you'll see over and over and over how they talk about how we communicate. And that's a big part of what we're doing. So the other thing that we do is we say, hey, at the end of this job, we want you to come and walk it with us. We want you to come and say, there's three reasons. One is we want to make sure we got everything. The second thing is we want to make sure that we didn't forget anything, and we want to make sure you didn't forget anything, so that when we're done, because we're pretty busy, and it'd be hard for us to come back. So what we do is we walk the job with them when we're done. Now, one of the huge benefits of our company is the fact that we haul off the debris daily while we're demoing. So what that does is it makes the job site look more neat and more professional, and it keeps the chances of somebody getting hurt on the job site. It lowers it a great deal. So we do that all day long, and that's included in our pricing. So basically, when the guys are done, they're going to walk the job with you, and we have another system set up that if you give the company a Google review, the guys get a bonus. So if you want to give the guys a bonus, you just give us a Google review, we give the guys a bonus. So it's kind of a win-win-win all the way around. That's it. Now at the end of the job, here's what I preach to the guys, and we have a meeting every Thursday. I preach to them to be safe and to wear their glasses and to wear their gloves and not to get on the top rung of a ladder and things like that. So the other thing that I talk to them about is I tell them that we need to get every screw out. We need to get every little piece of tile off the floor. When we're done, we want to clean everything up. The number one comment we get from all of our Google reviews is that people are very, very focused on how clean it was. They want it clean. It's funny, as we do this mountain of work, and all they're concerned about is how clean it is. So isn't that funny or ironic or whatever? It's interesting to me. So basically that's it, man. I just wanted you guys to see our approach to this and to help the customers understand how we do things. We also have a very unique thing, and it's built our culture. When we hire somebody new, this is not rocket science. It's not something that's crazy hard to learn, but it does take the right mindset, and it takes the right attitude, and it takes the right kind of people. So we're not in rooms we're not supposed to be in. We're not on floors we're not supposed to be in. The minute we see any hint of that with one of the guys, we address it immediately. Typically, it's going to be termination, because we're not going to put up with somebody stealing from somebody. Knock on wood, we haven't had that happen, not one time in the whole time we've been at this. So the other thing that we do is the crew leaders are paid. They have an incentive, okay? So they get paid a percentage of the job. So what that does for you as a customer is they want to get it done properly, because they want to go on to the next job. They don't have to come back the next day and fix something that they missed. So that's one thing. The other thing about the crew leaders is they get to choose who stays with their crew. And maybe that's not the right approach or the way to say it. What I mean is, if somebody comes in and they won't work, they won't put in their fair share. If they're not putting in their fair share, the crew leader is not stuck with this person for the rest of his life. We basically go to the crew leader, says, hey, this guy's really not working out. He's disappearing, or he's not following through, or he won't listen to me, or he's not doing whatever. Okay. So then what we do with that is we just assume we may give the new person the assumption that maybe there might possibly be a personality conflict. So we'll put them on another crew for a day. Now, if we hear the same thing twice, we shake their hands, say, look, if you want to come back in a month with a new attitude, we'll give you another chance if we need people at that point. So, and if not, it is what it is. So a lot of our crew leaders and stuff like that started out as guys that kind of were hit or miss. We don't put up with them not showing up. We don't put up with drinking or smoking or anything like that on the job sites. We deal with, most people don't grow up and say, geez, when I grow up, I'm going to become a demolition contractor or demolition laborer. They're not going to do that. That's just not normal. That's not the mindset. So what happens is typically we're going through all these guys and trying to figure out who's got the right attitude, who likes what they're doing, who wants to be. There's a lot of satisfaction in this job because, for people who have attention problems and stuff like that, starting a job in the morning, being done with it at the end of the day is really satisfying. Or starting a job today and finishing it up on Friday and doing some monster amount of work. It's very, very satisfying. So these guys get a lot of that. And we have a lot of guys that have been with us forever. A lot of guys, they come and they go. It's the labor business. Between us and roofing and landscaping and stuff like that, they just rotate, over and over and over. So pretty much that's it. That's us, the Remove Pros culture, kind of our approach and our story. So this was, I basically did that so that, just to make this easier and for you to understand how we approach things. So some of the guys you're going to talk to, they're going to say, hey, we're not busy. And say, I know we're not as busy as we like either right now, and that's why I'm coming to see you. What I'm basically doing is I'm priming the pump. I'm building relationships now while I have time, so that when we do get busy, that you and I will already know about each other. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you for just a minute, and we would really like the ability to bid on your next job. So do you have any jobs in the hopper? If not, can you call us when you do?